finale was exactly what I wanted the finale to be. For some reason, somehow they managed to answer all the questions while putting all the action into it and all making it all come together without it. Like, that's how I want the Marvel shows to actually end. I don't want them to end with the biggest stuff happening on the episode before it ends. I want the biggest stuff to happen on the conclusion so we go strong. And this one, yo, I've been meh on this show for most of it, like, but the last half of it, the last 3/4 of it, I guess, the last half of it, I've been like, all right, now you got me, now you got me all the way sold, and I think that last episode was everything you needed to be able to get ready to set off into the split of the entrance of the Netflix verse into Marvel or wherever their variants, the segmentation of Echo, the segmentation of Young Avengers, and hopefully Yelena gets her own story. The segmentation then going into actually the redemption of Kate Bishop in my eyes to being far less annoying, which I know is the point, as JP has mentioned each and every week.
It's supposed to be annoying. It's supposed to annoy the hell out of you.
And she had, and they brought it back, and they made it make sense. The Swordman actually coming out, which was amazing.
Yeah, that was very good. Is that how you feel, JP? JP, is that how you feel?
Swordsman! I've got a sword right here.
He's got a sword right there.
Ah!
That's a man who takes his toy swords very seriously. He's
Oh,
a swordsman, and he has a sword right there on him.
This is a real sword.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Boy, you are a man with a sword.
But yeah, Hawkeye was. It's really good. I loved it.
What did you like about it? What did that got you in there, JP?
What's that movie? Like the line in that music movie. Almost Famous.
Oh, Cameron Crowe. Okay.
What do I love about music? Everything. Everything.
So you loved everything about Hawkeye.
Yes.
Everything about the finale.
Yeah, even the cheesy bits, even the love bits. You know.
There were love bits.
Hey, Hawkeye has a wife, and
Echo had a thing with the one of the tracksuit guys.
With Kazi.
That wasn't love. That kind of finished a bit. I don't know.
Yeah,
no, it was family. That was like.
That was love, family or not. It was love. She was convincing him to run away with him. I don't know if that's not, that's love. Caring for someone. Come on, let's get out of this life.
Right, but he didn't do it though, did he? I'm trying to backtrack a little bit.
I mean, he got stabbed, so that would probably end that.
He got stabbed. I thought.
But hey, he wanted her to get out. Just get out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So yeah, her origin, her finishing up in that series was really interesting. That was one of the
that was just the beginning of her, because we're getting obviously with the Echo series coming.
So let's just cut to the chase with one question, or one of a couple of questions I had. Did she actually kill Kingpin?
No. Shot him.
How could she have not killed him? She was standing right there in front of him. She pulled out the gun. She fired it. It looked like it was towards his head, his upper torso. How could he have not died?
Went through his cheek. Probably barely missed his brain. It's the Kingpin.
Did you see the fight scene between Kate and
Kingpin?
Yeah, I did.
See that arrow stabbed through him, and he's like, eh.
So he's supposed to be really mega strong, isn't he? Well, Kingpin is new to me. I only seen, to put this into context, I haven't seen him in the Netflix series. I've only seen him in the Spider-Verse. So Into the Spider-Verse, where he was truly a badass in the
So
Spider-Verse with Miles
so
Morales.
here's the deal with the Kingpin. Basically, the Kingpin is he's just been he's the crime boss of crime
Yeah.
bosses, right? But
Yeah.
really, the reality of it is he's just a really fat guy who's like a sumo wrestler. He's like
Right.
sumo wrestler big, sumo wrestler strong. You know, like he looks like he's fat, but it's all muscle. But the thing with him
Yep.
is just that he's just so powerful. He's not supernaturally powerful, but he's dumb, crazy powerful. So it takes a lot to be able to knock him out of position. But he's also really prepared, which is why we know, because they took the elements in from the Netflix show and put it in. Like he's got armor. Like his clothing is always armored. He's always prepared. But he's always been a guy that is, the quiet, calm sociopath. Because like when he was younger, like the Netflix show brought it in when he was younger. Because I'm gonna take it because they're taking it from that. He killed his dad, who taught him a lot of stuff. He killed his dad, who was beating up his mom. Kept his dad's cufflinks so that he could always have the reminder. The dude's got a huge rage issue. I don't know if they're gonna bring in his girl that was like in the Netflix show to bring her into.
I doubt it.
I hope not, because it would be kind of whack. But it would add to the motivations of what he does in terms of how he became the Kingpin. But it also depends on whether we're gonna see him with the hand or anything like that. But no, like this dude is the dude. But he's dumb, crazy powerful. But this is a guy who's gone toe to toe with Spider-Man and Daredevil. But he's gone toe to toe with Spider-Man.
Right. So how would he have survived that gunshot? Be a bit more specific for me, because that looked pretty definitive to me, but it didn't show the bullet entering him. It didn't show a body fall into the ground. It didn't. It was very obscure, and yet she was standing right in front of him. How does he survive that shot?
Well,
Is he got his bulletproof vest?
my theory is Bullseye.
Protecting him.
Bullseye. I have a feeling Bullseye might be coming in because we've seen in the movie we're gonna do next that Matt Murdock's there, and Hawkeye's there, and the Swordsman's there. So it's gonna be like probably coming together.
Bullseye. What are you talking about?
Bullseye. Think of him as like another, like how Hawkeye is like one of the best like target throwers. Like Bullseye is maybe like a par ahead of Hawkeye. Like the dude just doesn't miss on anything. Like if you give him something in his hands, he'll be able to get it to his match. He's a big Daredevil villain. Say what?
So he's already present in the Netflix.
Yeah, in Netflix, he was on Daredevil season 2, season 3.
So he would have intervened there. Is that what you're saying to me?
That's what I'm that's what I'm theorizing.
Yeah,
that's one right.
So it would make sense because again, whenever you've recognized that Daredevil is in the universe, the Devil of Hell's Kitchen, then Bullseye is one of his number one foes, simply because of the fact that they have like that reverse where Daredevil's powers are basically sonic knowledge, sonic awareness, and which makes him can be as accurate. And Bullseye is just, he's
a freak. So we're working on that. There could be a couple of reasons, a couple of ways that Kingpin can survive the shot, but he has, in your minds, definitely survived the shot. My thinking, watching the series and hearing everything everyone said about him without watching any of the Netflix series, is that this guy is just too big to get rid of at the end of the series. Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't believe them to bring in Vincent D'Onofrio like that, and his demise does not go against Daredevil or Spider-Man. Not going to happen. Going to go against Echo, which the scene is already apparent from the comics as well too, where Echo shoots point blank, and it just blinds him in that situation.
Okay.
Like,
so one one thing this show has done, as has Spider-Man No Way Home, which we're going to talk about very soon, has opened up the MC universe within New York and the gangster scene there. Am I correct in saying
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Definitely.
that? Because, spoiler alert, everybody, Matt Murdock appears in No Way Home, unless I'm deeply mistaken.
We've seen some of the criminal elements already in the other MCU shows, like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We've probably seen some of the criminal elements already in the other movies, but it's just more pronounced now that they've revealed Kingpin in the MCU.
Well, and I think it also helps a lot of the factors that because of everything post blip, now you have this overload of people. So now factions, it makes sense for New York to have the overload and the factions to want to start splitting up their territory. I think so much needed to be done after the blip to create the additional tension for people who have been displaced, for people who have
Yes.
been, what you call it, people who have vendettas, people who are lost. Like it all makes sense as a result of the blip. So all these things now are kind of coalescing, and there needed to be somebody who had to get control. I mean, we know during the blip time that Kingpin had control, so he wasn't blipped. He had 5 years minimum to be able to get control of the city, and during that time, the 10 rings might have been gone, the hand might have been gone, so he just was spreading his territory freely.
Right. Okay, so let's get back to this TV series. Let's get back to this. Let's get back to Hawkeye. Right. So you guys were happy with the way it all ended up. The characters, the storyline, the character arcs. You happy with the way this series resolved itself?
It's like watching Die Hard 1 for the first time.
Yeah, I can feel that.
That's how it feels like for me. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Right.
So this is Christmas. Shoo!
Very, very Christmassy, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, dude, they brought it all together. Like, it's very difficult to create basically 3 different emotional ending of a storylines and not feel like they're too elongated. 4, if you want to add the revelation of Mockingbird, which was, thank God they dropped that. That would have been an absolute annoyance to have hanging out there. But
Mockingbird. Did I miss something here? Mockingbird.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who? Where? What? What are you talking?
Clint's wife. So the watch, whenever they showed it, so the theory had been going on is that why was she so capable, which we had talked about before. Like she's got to be an agent, but they revealed it, and it was in the comics. Clint marries a former agent known as Mockingbird, who's known to mock her villains and mock the people that she captures and what she got the name. And she's a former agent, but she faked her death and they married. But we never got that between the German and just being so aware of what's going on.
Yeah. My problem with the Mockingbird idea is we've already seen Mockingbird in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was played by Adrian Palicki. I forget her name. So,
but that's a different universe. Different universe.
Is that a canon? So I understand.
No, I mean, it's not canon to the MCU storyline. It's canon to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. universe. That Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still exists.
Okay. So let's get back. Let's get to the heart of the series. Kate Bishop and Clint Barton, partners. It happens. They at one point, about 10 minutes into it, he says we're partners, and that's really what this series is all about. These two becoming partners. I don't know what else to say. I'm going to say kindred spirits. That might be a bit strong. In the end, they share.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Continue.
I mean, in the end, they have Christmas dinner together. These two truly are brothers and sisters in arms That seems to be where the series is heading. That seems to be where it's end up.
Yeah, I don't feel like that was what the point of the series was. I didn't think it was about them being unified. It was about coming to terms with your reality. Because for Clint, it was the guilt of Natasha's death and him never feeling like he's actually a role model and a hero and fighting against that so consistently. And Kate Bishop,
Yes.
it was understanding her actual role and recognizing what the realities and responsibilities are of being a person of that means. Like she's basically going back to like her mom made the claim at the end. I did all this because you can't handle not having everything. And now Kate Bishop has nothing. Like her mom's been arrested, which means her funds are going to be frozen. She's not going to be able to pull money out like nothing. She literally has to start from nothing and be the hero because that's now as she's recognized. Like she's been maskless. So she is out there. So both of them are coming to reality that they both have to realize the position that they are in while also doing it together and doing it as a new subset of a team.
Yeah. I mean, she put her mum behind bars. Like that's pretty huge to dob your mum into the cops to get her arrested.
Right.
That's no small thing to do, including when she's your only living parent.
Right.
I thought that was quite amazing. And it'll probably need to be unpacked, I think, a little bit further in future episodes or movies or whatever. That kind of thing that Kate Bishop actually did there at the end. It's pretty incredible.
I think it helps so much that she has the relationship be starting with Yelena because that contrast but similarity in background I think is going to help. And of course then you have your mentor figure of Clint, and probably Mockingbird will end up being a little bit of a mother figure over time because you're not going to just reveal her and just keep her in the wings moving forward.
To me, the whole series was what I expected. It didn't really go to any great lows, and it didn't go to me any great highs. It didn't surprise. I don't think I got terribly surprised at any point or shocked. It didn't blow my mind like maybe parts of Loki did. The one bit in this last episode that really got to me, I was looking at a little bit teary, was the bit between Helena and Clint on the ice, where they were trying to resolve what happened with Natasha. And I was genuinely moved by that. And I don't know how you guys felt about it, but that was, to me, the most powerful part, not only this probably episode, but part of the series. Just coming to terms with Natasha's sacrifice and Helena processing that and kind of, working through that, what it meant with Clint.
Yeah.
To the point I thought that Helena was going to go. I always kind of figured out at some point in that last episode, I had to kind of figure that Kate was going to go back and share Christmas dinner with the Bartons. And at that point, such was the intensity of the emotions between Helena and Clint, I thought, okay, Helena's going to go back and become part of the family as well. Of course, she didn't. She disappeared. But what's really interesting about that is that was, to me, the most powerful part. That's where I got really teary as Helena was processing what happened to Natasha, as we explained, and she changed her whole attitude towards Clint. But that kind of storyline didn't need how do I put this? It doesn't take place within the series. You could have actually had that scene outside of everything that happened previously. It had really not a lot to do with the 5.5 episodes that came before it. You could have seen the death of Natasha. You should have seen Clint's reaction to Natasha's death, his grieving. Then had Helena's go kill Clint. He killed your sister bit. And gone straight to that scene. You didn't need the whole series. You didn't need the whole series.
I think that's what's good about Marvel, because I think they were, trying to cram in as much story in the first season, because they're not being too overconfident about their series. They're probably thinking, oh, maybe it's not gonna go well, so let's just put all the ideas in for storylines and see what happens. Because like not all the Marvel TV series were being asked to do a second season, right? So they're probably not trying not to be too overconfident, and then just want to tell these stories in one season, and then just seeing what happens next, which is, I think.
Yes, but that's not a criticism of the series, all right? That's not a criticism of anything. It's just an observation that the most powerful part of the series happened outside the main storylines of the series.
But did it really happen outside of the main storyline? Because there never was going to be a solve for Hawkeye's own guilt. He might have come to everything's leading into it. Might have just come to terms with, I have to accept being a leader and a role model while still not feeling deserved of it. But at least now in this situation, there was someone who could share the grief with him, because there's nobody else who's going to have that kind of relationship with Natasha like him. There's only him and Yelena. Not even the other Avengers could be able to do that. And the only other one that arguably could have done that might be
Hulk.
Exactly. And even that was subtle because of the fact that we never saw the extent of what their relationship was. And we already had the conclusion of that whenever he went out into space. So
what you're saying, Giff, what you're saying here is, I think I hear what you're saying, is that while the events of the preceding episodes might be, what Helena did in confronting
Yelena, not Helena. Yelena.
What Yelena did in confronting. Sorry, my Russian pronunciation's a bit rusty.
Yet.
No, I've never been to Russia. I never will. But I get what you're saying. I get saying in the series there is this guilt that Clint carries. There is this pain that Clint carries about the death of Natasha, and to an extent, to a large extent, maybe the ultimate extent, she does address Yelena does confront that, and it is resolved, so he can now move on, having kind of received a blessing or a pass or something from her sister, that now they can go forward. He can go forward with a little bit more guilt-free conscience. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's an unburdening. Like sometimes it's you need to have some. And again, it goes back again. There was nobody else who could feel the grief like she could. Yeah. She's the only other person that has that closeness. So even in the fact of killing her, which I'll be honest with you, during that scene, despite the resolution, I literally was kind of sitting on the edge, being like, "Yo, is this where they kill off Hawkeye?" Because I wouldn't have been surprised if she was like, "Yeah, I understand, but still, shot," and would have gotten him in the gut.
Really, you thought that? I didn't think that.
I was sitting on it. I was like, "Yo, she's still going to like." There was I was like, It would make sense because, one, it's always significant to have one good, major death, and it would have already had the replacement Hawkeye. And it would raise up the value of the Mockingbird, and it would make the need for the connection between Yelena. But I guess it would sever the connection between Yelena and Kate Bishop. But I would have, or set up a perfect rivalry between them, a friendly rivalry between them. But it would have made sense if like Jeremy Renner, like I never heard anything about Jeremy Renner's contract, but it would have been a perfect ending to that contract to be like, we're gonna take out Hawkeye. And it makes sense, but it's unfair. And then it would hit just such an emotional punch after all this was considered, Yeah.
I thought he was always going to be back for Christmas dinner. I never really thought that him getting back to his family was ever in doubt. So that never crossed my mind. But
Yeah.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe. Subscribe.
Die. Oh, die.